I'm currently trying to retrofit the Mk4 Jettas hydraulic clutch pedal assembly to the Mk1 pickup truck. Before I stab the motor in, I wanted to get the clutch problem taken care of. They make a lot of adapters and things like that, and from what I've been reading, people aren't happy with them. So I wanted to make this conversion as much Mk4 as far as the systems as I can. So I built a box. Well, first thing I did is I took a square and I set it on the floorboard of the Mk1 of the truck, and I pushed the brake pedal out to extend all the way out, and I put a mark on the floor. And then I did the same thing with the clutch pedal. So I got 2 marks on the floor now, approximate width of the pedal at the position it would be in the out position. Then I took the Mk4. The Mk4's clutch comes with the bracket assembly and everything, and it bolted into the firewall of the Jetta. So I took that, shoved it up underneath the dash, put it up against the firewall, and the Mk4 extended past the brake pedal 3 1/4 inches, and that's just ridiculous. That clutch pedal will be sticking way out. I think for safety reasons, those pedals need to be lined up with each other. I've looked the truck over really carefully, and I decided to build a box that clutch assembly and its mounting bracket from the Mk4 will fit in that box, and that box is going to extend that clutch 3 1/4 inches into the engine bay. Okay, I got the box just sitting in the engine bay. It's just sitting in the hole. It's maybe a little cockeyed, whatever. I got the clutch master cylinder mounted in the hole. There's 2 spots on the firewall where wiring harnesses came out. I've had to cut halfway through one of those holes. One thing that is going to be a total retrofit is going to be the wiring system. So I'm thinking I'm not going to need that many wires going through the firewall. But if we do, we will manage one way or another. I made my box out of 16 gauge metal from the lid to a breaker box. The firewall is 22 gauge, which is quite thin. So using this firewall for something it wasn't meant to be used for is really something I need to keep in mind. My plan is, you can see the box coming through the firewall. Got the clutch, the Mk4 clutch bracket assembly. I got my two marks on the floor. My T-square. Set it on that mark, and that's where the clutch pedal, brake pedal comes up and touches. I'm not really worried about T-square now because look, both pedals damn near line up with each other. I'm really happy with that. The brake pedal assembly bracket, it mounts to the firewall, but it also mounts up top here. And the only problem I've got, which I think I've already got figured out, is when the clutch pedal goes in, it's going to bump into the firewall. Right inside, this is on the bracket. So I need to cut my box down a little bit and make for that clutch pedal. I need to mark. So I need to go down probably 2 inches on the box to make for that clutch pedal to be able to touch that stopper in there. The plan is, in order to gain strength around the edges of the box here, I'm going to weld big flanges. Depending where on the firewall the flange is sitting will depend on its width. On the outboard side of the box, I see the flange being maybe 1.5 wide, 2 inches. And then across the top, I think I already figured that flange needs to be 1/2 inch. And then down the other side, it's going to be different, whatever size. I haven't figured that out yet. And there'll be a flange across the bottom. And the box will be bolted to the firewall, but it'll also be glued to the firewall, because that's one thing I discovered about the Mk4 Jetta is its firewall is glued on. It's got maybe 4 bolts, 6 bolts total, but it's glued on with a adhesive that is impossible to get off. I don't think I ever got it off. I just cut it and it grabs like crap. So the adhesive I'm probably going to use is what's called 3M 5200. It's a marine adhesive that I've used on boats, and when it grabs hold, it don't let loose. I probably wouldn't be doing this if this was a brake pedal, but the force needed on a clutch pedal is nowhere near like the force you could put on a brake pedal during a panic stop. I'm excited. We might have actually figured this out. Okay, this is the finished product of my clutch pedal adapter to run the Mk4 clutch in the Mk1 pickup truck. It's crude, but I think it's going to work just fine. I try to make my flanges wide enough to cover enough area of the firewall to transfer some of the load, not have it just on the bolt holes. I made this bracket coming off the front, and it's going to bolt to the same spot the brake master cylinder's bracket bolts to. And the brake master cylinder bracket I modified to bolt it to the side of this adapter. If I was to do it over again, which I have no intention, as I'd use this as a template, and I would make the flange one solid flange to wrap all the way around it. Now you'll see up in this corner there's no flange, and that's because there's hardware on the firewall that's in the way. I welded the bolts in for the clutch pedal bracket, so that should be easy to install. And before I install this, I'm going to coat these flanges with 3M 5200. 5200 loves to grab hold and not let loose. Let's just put it that way. So I'm going to test fit this one more time. Take it back out, coat the flanges, and then hopefully permanently install it for the last time. And the sealant, I'm going to make sure it seals this box to the firewall in a way that the environment doesn't get inside the cab. So I went ahead and I got the bracket for the clutch master cylinder permanently installed, got the clutch hooked up, plumbed into the slave cylinder. Everything works really good. Also got the engine back in and sitting in place. Brake boosters mounted along with the reservoir tank, and so far everything looks good. The bracket doesn't seem to interfere with anything. Clutch pedal travel looks real good. I don't have the brakes plumbed in yet or bled, but I did go ahead and install the throttle. Hopefully that's not too close to the brake pedal, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I'll give you updates with the wiring and the intercooler piping I'm messing with. The wiring is just laying loose for right now. The way I like to do them, I'll use these terminal blocks and I'll run the Mk4 to one side and the Mk1 to the other side, and that's how I mate my systems together. The idea is to have a little plate to mount right up in here to tidy up them wires. One thing I've been puzzled about is what to do with the intercooler. Part of me says forget about the intercooler, just plumb it in and be done with it. Intercoolers are fairly new when it comes to turbos. Turbos on heavy equipment, big trucks, even the little 1.6 turbo diesels didn't have intercoolers. So I know I would survive without one. I'm leaning towards building something. Not an intercooler, but a heat sink. Got this big old aluminum bumper here. And what I'm thinking about doing is building a plate just inside, or maybe on the tops and the bottom. Do the math, figure out the area of a 2-inch intercooler pipe, and move this plate to the same area between the bumper and the plate, aluminum plate, and pipe the intercooler in through the bumper and back out, and probably weld some fins on it and make it a heat sink. It may not be as good as an intercooler, but it's, if it transfers heat and gets the heat out of there, it'll be better than nothing. And I can always put temperature gauges coming off the turbo and going into the intake and see what the difference is. So that's a thought. So thanks for watching my video. I'm really excited that I was able to maintain the Mark IV clutch system in its entirety and not butcher it. There's all sorts of kits and stuff out there for adapting the Mark I to the Mark IV, or the Mark I to the O2J transmission, from converting the transmission to a mechanical cable clutch, and to installing a slave cylinder on the Mark I's clutch pedal. But I haven't read a whole lot of anything good about it, and what I've done is I've allowed my clutch system to remain Mark IV. Thank you for watching my videos. Please stay tuned for more videos on my little Mark I Rabbit pickup truck build. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and remember, if you love life and learning new things, go aimless.com.